with unique startups and has been working as a banker for the last 25 years. And Madhura is among 23 of 23 lists published by HR Association of India. She's achieving Women in Management Scholarship. She has all the accolades possible, and she's been working tireless of experience in project planning and amplification and implementation, end-to-end project delivery, and has done immense amount of work empowering programs on various skills initiatives as well in India. So welcome, and we'd like you guys to also welcome the chief guest of honor.
We are actually very fortunate. We thought that our chief guest would be a little more delayed, but he has found time in his busy schedule to actually find time to be with us early on, and CEO of SBI Foundation. He is the person behind this entire program, and he is the person who also conceptualized Ms. Kiran. Thank you for all the support for having us launch this program today. It's a very emotional moment for us. EntrepreNaari manager in SBI and has completed 35 years at the bank. He's currently posted as the Managing Director and CEO of SBI Foundation since 27th July 2022. Prior to this posting, he was Deputy General Manager, Industrial Relations in the HR Department of SBI Corporate Center, Mumbai for 4 years. Shri Prakash is a science graduate with honors in statistics from Patna University. He started his banking career with postings in remote areas of the rural Santhal Parganas in Jharkhand. And over the last 35 years, he has served in various positions, heading branches in rural and urban centers, supervising IT projects, handling retail business portfolio, cross-selling business, and leading critical administrative positions in the State Bank of India. He also served as regional manager of the Jamshedpur region in Jharkhand for 3 years. As DGM IR, he played a crucial role in maintaining a smooth IR climate in the bank and introducing many staff welfare measures. He has empathy for underprivileged communities and has a deep passion for philanthropic activities. During his service period, he has been actively involved in community service initiatives and is committed to improving the living conditions of the needy, particularly in the areas of basic healthcare facilities and education for the marginalized sections of society. And he is our chief guest for this afternoon. Well, we actually wanted to start this whole afternoon with a little bit of thinking. And who better to start that thinking process than the person who has actually been leading the Goa Sashakti EntrepreNaari project on the ground, Mr. Anuj Kanwar. And we have a very exciting panel that Anuj is going to invite on board. So maybe Anuj, I can just invite, talk about the 4 exciting speakers you've lined up, and we'd love to welcome all of you, and then Anuj, and hand you over to Anuj. May I first invite Mr. Parikshit Pai Fandekar. He's a visionary entrepreneur and founder of the Kamakshi Group, which includes the renowned Kamakshi College of Culinary Arts in Goa. With over 2 decades of experience in the hospitality and cruise staffing industry, Mr. Fandekar has redefined culinary education and workforce development through innovative platforms like Kamakshi Overseas Consultants and Fierce Kitchens. And let me tell you that this is not the last time that you're hearing about Fierce Kitchens. Fierce Kitchens is truly going to be an iconic part of all that we do here in Goa Sashakti EntrepreNaari. Thank you so much, Parikshit, for being here. I next have the honor of calling upon Ms. Asha Orondekar, currently serving as the chairperson of the Women's Wing at the Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She's also the Goa India State Chair of G100 and the State President of ABWCI, a global chamber supporting business women with mentorship opportunities and a strong industry network. Asha began her entrepreneurial journey from co-founding pharma export company to bringing VLCC to Goa to launching her own brand, Sattva Salon and Spa. Asha has consistently broken new ground. Her most recent and impactful initiative, Global to Local, is a Goan supermarket in Panaji that empowers over 100 rural women and self-help groups by showcasing and selling over 300 homegrown products. She is a recipient of several awards. She's also been honored as the Global Entrepreneur Ambassador under the Global UN Economic Growth Initiative and serves on advisory boards such as the Goa Livelihood Forum and Apparent Foods Limited. Asha, may we have you? The third super exciting participant on the panel, and Anuj, I'm really jealous of you that you get to have this conversation with this group, is Mr. Varun Chawla. A serial entrepreneur, startup ecosystem builder, and impact-driven innovator, Mr. Varun Chawla. Varun originally co-founded 91 Springboard, one of India's earliest and most influential co-working platforms, and is also the founder of a unique startup studio that co-builds impact-oriented ventures dedicated to mind, body, and earth. Unlike traditional advisors, Varun steps in as an institutional co-founder, working alongside early-stage founders to shape and scale purpose-driven enterprises into sustainable and self-sufficient organizations. A Cornell University graduate with a degree in applied economics and management, Varun also holds a PhD in management from Young Scientists University and a certificate in project management from XLRI. Varun, welcome. The last participant, not the least, Mr. D.S. Prashant, a leader shaping Goa's innovation ecosystem. Mr. D.S. Prashant, CEO of the Startup and IT Promotion Cell, Department of IT, Government of Goa. With a strong background in entrepreneurship and public sector innovation, Mr. Prashant is driving initiatives that support startups, foster digital transformation, and unlock Goa's potential as a hub for technology and innovation. Under his leadership, the state has seen a surge in support for systems for startups, including policies, infrastructure, mentorship, are aimed at uplifting local entrepreneurs and bridging the gap between vision and execution. Mr. Prashant is building pathways for young change makers and tech entrepreneurs to contribute meaningfully to Goa's economy and society. Warm welcome, Mr. Prashant. And now let me introduce Anuj Kanwar. Anuj brings... Yes, I'll do this. I thought I'll introduce Anuj and then... Thank you. Anuj brings 20 years of experience in banking and entrepreneurship. In 2022, he founded School Trucks, a venture designing educational and impactful games. As an ally and advisor for Aspire for Her, leading initiatives like She Exports, Anuj will be moderating this session and will also serve as a key leader in Project Sashakti. We are very lucky to have people like Anuj, allies like Anuj at Aspire for Her, and very fondly we call him the him in Aspire for Her. So warm welcome to you, Anuj. And we'd love to do a little welcome
Please, why don't you do the honors?
Let's do the honors.
Yeah, let's felicitate our dear guest. And while the felicitation is going on, I'm going to just tell you a story. I visited Goa just about 3 weeks back. After 6 years of my stint of living in Mumbai, and I've only been here with my one wife, 2 kids, and 1 mom. And the interesting part was that everywhere I have gone, I've just stayed near the beach. And this time, when I came here, I realized that there's so much to offer to Goa. So let's start with this project Sashakti. First of all, this panel discussion that we're going to talk about, Goa Food for Purpose for Profit, is actually been stolen by the conversations I had with Varun. Literally like that. And me and Varun were talking about this. What you do is that I support startups for purpose, for profit. And I said, yes, I'm going to take this line. So that's how Varun is here. Not because of that line, but because of the work he does. Then I went to Mr. Prashant. I said, sir, I do not know anybody here. I said, hang on. 3 phone calls and I had 3 meetings in next half an hour. And I was just roaming around in Panjim and I decided I'm going to stay here. And I'm going to come back. And that's what happens when you see and you work around with a network. Then comes Asha ma'am. And my first conversation with Asha ma'am was, ma'am, you brought BLCC here in India. Do you think I should go there? I said, no, you're fine. But having said that, the amount of work that she's doing specifically with respect to self-help groups and they're supporting them and the brand that she's built for herself as well as for them is remarkable. As a matter of fact, the giveaway, we have a small giveaway for you, is all from her side. So thank you so much, ma'am. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Parikshit sir, amazing. First meeting, please come to Fierce Kitchen. The van, I want to be there along with my other friend. We went there, the wine is not lit up. What do? We went to the beach. We came back and said, boss, we need to have this van because I have not seen food truck. So, and I went back to my home and I told my wife, I said, one day I'm going to be selling Rajma Chawal from this van. Because that's the only thing I know how to cook. Other than that, or else train me. So that's Fierce Kitchen for you, but there's going to be so much we're going to do with them. And as a matter of fact, I am spending time with all of them who are sitting on my left hand side and designing a program which is going to start. We are actually launching this program today. Over the next period of next 30-35 days is what we're going to talk about, who's going to come, what we're going to take them, what is going to be the journey, what kind of a mentorship we're going to look at, right from theoretical to practical. We're going to look at giving them every possible thing under the sun, the project Sashakti. Now let's talk about this panel who's sitting over here. Enough of me. So imagine this, you're going to an amazing beach and suddenly you realize that the sun is set, now I should leave from there. Would you stay to that beach because there's an amazing restaurant? And answer could be yes, or answer could be no, because the shacks may be there or shacks may not be there for future, right? So that is what we're talking about. There are over 1 million plus visitors who come to Goa every year. Yet, how many of them take back a brand with them? How many of them we talk about, this is a brand that we want to talk about? Yes, there are few. And I'm coming up, but how many of the flea market brands we have seen going global? Or at least going domestic itself? You know, that's a whole endeavor that we're going to put across the table. But the fact is that there are still 3,000 plus self-help groups which are currently here in Dubai. In Goa. Why I'm talking about Dubai? I'm still here. Feels like Dubai, it's hot. 8% of them are MSMEs which are driven by women. That's the contribution the woman gives to this state. 9.7% CAGR is what the growth rate is, what we're expecting. Yet, 60% of them is unorganized. That means they don't have an access to credit, they don't have access to digital literacy or financial literacy, whatever you want to call that. They are working with 1 acre of land, half an acre of land, or a small house, and that is what they're growing. They are amazing to grow a kumkum, but they do not know how to package it. So this is what this is what a project Sashakti is for you. We are not going to look at only women who are very promising, but also who brings innovation on our table, like a seaweed farming, something we can bring from a sustainability. So all of that is going to be unveiled as part of it. But let's start with the first question, which is on sustainability, since we brought this product. Asha ma'am, how do you think that Goa has positioned itself as a next India's innovation hub, specifically in terms of a food, right? Now talking about blending local wisdom with global trend, and especially you have a brand or you have a company which supports from local to global. So how do you see that Goa shaping up in that sense?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here on this wonderful platform. Wonderful because I think it's a wholesome platform with which Goan women are going to benefit. Coming to the food business, I think it's Goa has got a very, very rich heritage. I mean, it has got a combination of like our roots, the old Saraswat Hindu food, and we also have the the Portuguese culture and the food from Portuguese as well. So there is a complete combination of both. Today you look at Goa and there is no cuisine from any state of India or any country which is not having an outlet in Goa, because the kind of people who visit Goa also are both I mean, we have global people visiting Goa, we have domestic people visiting Goa. So definitely there is a need where we organize this whole food business, we combine the global trends with a Goan twist, of course, and offer it to all the people who are visiting Goa and all the people who live in Goa. Because this is what we need to do. We need to I personally feel that, we got to have some kind of community cloud kitchens in villages where you can not just skill the women out there, the youth out there, but also give them the, exposure to digital platforms like you mentioned. You give them funding and, options, which a lot of grants are there which could be availed here. There could be a cold storage perhaps in small way, which could be set up. And if we are giving them all this, besides this, you can also have a pool of mentors, so which will have the successful people in business, and you could have chefs coming in. So all this is how you could combine both and really make Goa a very organized global platform, because Goan cuisine is really unique. It is an experience. Every cuisine in Goa tells a story. So yes, definitely we can, we could go ahead.
Absolutely,
with this.
and I'll be very happy to see many flea market or home kitchens making the name outside, and I'm already seeing that, experiencing the food. Lovely homestay. I'm staying here in Porvarium. Beautiful stay. I know the experience itself is so holistic over here, right? That's what I'm talking about. Parikshit sir, I have a question for you. Sir, what role can a food entrepreneurs play in transforming Goa's identity from tourism state, right, to a culinary destination? Now, everybody wants to come to Goa because of beaches. But do you think in months, years, or whatever period from now, one would want to go to Goa to taste food, like food first?
Thank you, Anish, for inviting me for this event. And coming back to your question, I think there is a fantastic opportunity for foodpreneurs to showcase Goa and its rich heritage. So Goa has your traditional culture, which you can showcase, like the Portuguese cuisine, the Saraswat, the coastal cuisine, and also over the last couple of years, there has been a lot of migration and the cuisine has evolved. So what we're looking at, evolved form of cuisine. So along with the growth tables, you talk about workshops, you talk about packaged products, you talk about storytelling in food, you talk about food photography. I think the sky is the limit. There are so many opportunities. And right now what's trending is, food trucks, food carts. I think the opportunities here are fantastic. And with, all the stakeholders, and the whole entire ecosystem, if it can work together, I think, we have a beautiful offering for anyone who is coming into Goa. And Goa is really a great place, to kind of to launch your product. We've seen that with, a lot of alcohol brands coming into Goa and launching. So we've seen so many startups, coming with great ideas from big cities. They want to kind of, try the product in Goa, and they want to kind of fine tune and then take it to the global markets. So I think the opportunity out here is fantastic, and it's entirely, a great ecosystem out here.
Thanks, Parikshit. Prashant sir, I have a quick question for you. Do you think incubators are ready for a food tech or a clean label experimentation in this local space over here? Because that would be required, and when you want to look at not just a food truck, there has to be more food tech and clean label experimentation. Is the incubation ready or getting it for it?
In fact,
check.
Yes.
In fact, we had the numbers enumerated about the startups, right? Around 600 startups. And out of 600, around 25% are from the IT. The next 18% comes from the food sector.
Wow.
And the next 13% comes in tourism, which is very close. And then we have many other sectors, right? So I remember this first three. So food as such is a very important component of the ecosystem in Goa. And I come from a place I come from Salsette basically. And the aspiration of every people around Salsette was to do a catering course and, go to get a job on the ship sometime back when I was very young. So it comes very naturally when we talk about food and so. So I remember in the year 2010 or so, the United Nations had come up with a program known as Skills. It was skilling for improved livelihood and living standards. And in fact, Abhishek is smiling. In fact, Dr. Ajit, who is the director, did the survey at that point in time about what kind of culinary education needs to be imparted and how do we package this whole ecosystem so that it becomes an entrepreneurial venture. And it was implemented by Father Agnes, the project, which was a 3-year project, I guess, 4-year project. And they identified 4 sectors. One was food production, one was beverages, and one was bakery, and there was ready-to-eat items. Right? Yeah, these were the 4 areas. And they trained the people in the rural areas of Basem, technology, and one was definitely food because they had a catering college during that time and they had the experience of implementing the skills project. And I understood that support was quite effective. They had a full-fledged lab which was set up, and it was quite effective, and it went on to support many startups in the food sector. After that, there was a combination, I guess, between a partnership between GIM and Fierce Kitchen, where they came out with supporting food startups, because supporting food technology startup was something which was the need of the hour at that point of time. And it matured on, and then government also got involved. I understand that the Biodiversity Board has come out with a product which is called Goan. They have set up kitchens in rural areas, which is basically to train and give opportunities for startups to support. And then the Chief Minister's Rozgar Yojana, which is there for a very, very long time, from 2001 onwards, which is supporting funding at a very initial stage for food entrepreneurs and so forth. So I think all the aspects regarding support, as far as which an incubator will provide, right from skilling, right from mentorship, right from the initial funding support which can come, and now we have the Prime Minister's FME program also, through which food businesses could be funded. And then DRD also came forward and established many programs. So I think there are a lot of initiatives and programs which are there, which are technology oriented and beyond technology also. But the need of the hour is to understand what are the real gaps and work on those gaps rather than replicating what is already been done. So that's my understanding about the incubation process.
No, thank you, sir. That was quite useful. Warren, I have a question for you. Right, we spoke about the incubation. We spoke about how the technology is evolving, how the state is thinking about foodpreneurs. I'm going to ask you about a question which is very close to my heart as well. And our food systems can our food systems mirror, let's call it a coastline, right? Clean, circular, full of life. Would we have a taste bud or a circular food business coming out of Goa? More sustainable, more cleaner, more basically something which we have grown in a life, eating food that been built as a habit, but more sustainable, right? And not being influenced by someone else or some new taste bud or something which is coming in, which is called a fusion, but something very original, more sustainable, more circular.
I've been through a personal journey myself with food over the last, I would say, decade or so, where as a younger person in your 20s and 30s, you're putting anything in your body and you're just looking for magic in your mouth and you don't worry about the impact it has on your body. But as I got to my later 30s, I have hiatus hernia, hypothyroidism, fatty liver, asthma, and arthritis. And that's mostly a function of what you're breathing, what you're drinking, and what you're eating. And this made me look deeply into what are we eating, where is it coming from, how is it processed, and I started to think deeply about this matter. I became plant-based exclusively in 2020 with the start of COVID. I also brought this change in my life, and within a short 6 months, I was able to reverse every one of these things I said and bring asthma to a level where I was taking 2 puffs a day to maybe a puff a month. So drastic changes I was able to bring by changing my food habits, making me realize how powerful this input is. What we put into our body is going to create how our body behaves, how well it gives us energy to do the activities we want to. So I shared the story really, Anuj, to share the importance of what you have said. I think for many, many years, we were able to put anything into our bodies just because there was mostly clean source material, our waters were pure, our processing systems were not highly industrialized and didn't use a lot of chemicals. We didn't fish and utilize resources to a certain level where we would end up destroying certain species. We didn't do any of this. But now, none of these things are true according to me. I think we're overfishing. The fish lives in waters that are polluted. We are processing these fish and other foods with various chemicals, and then we're happily putting them in our bodies, and now we're starting to face the truth. So is this the right time to bring about change, to reflect on our habits? Absolutely. I think what has happened in the past couple of decades, the good side is we've become a financial powerhouse or working towards that direction as a country. The bad part about this is that we're able to just throw a lot of money and hope to solve a problem. But this is one of those problems that when you throw a lot of money, there's a lot of demand. Industry gets created to just process a lot of that demand, but not necessarily thoughtfully and conscientiously. I now believe it is time to do that. Based vegan restaurant, which I frequently go to when I like to take my kids, because it represents exactly what I said. Healthy, clean, natural, well-sourced ingredients, prepared holistically, prepared live and fresh, no preservatives, etc., etc. I do think the time for this has arrived. I do believe Goa is one of the more dense places in India with regards to how many plant-based, natural, fresh foods are being prepared. So I think the long story short, Anuj, is, can Goa support such an ecosystem? Absolutely. Does humanity need this today? 100%.
And so am I. I'm going to cancel my trip to going to Bombay to have fish. We'll go somewhere else. Perhaps to that restaurant that you suggest. But thank you, Varun. No, I asked this question because I've been to your house, love the community you're building, Build3, and that's the reason why I thought that you would be more closer to this. I have a quick last two questions for the panel, and one, I definitely want to talk about exports, right? Can you see a domestic brand, a Goan brand, taking its brand internationally? Right? People are saying that, okay, this is a Goan brand, I recognize it. Anybody feel free to answer. Have you seen or have you even heard about people talking about it? Or probably, there would be some talks, right? After all, it's the highest pays per capita income state.
Since I'm in the business of startups, and there's one name that sort of jumps out at me, this is Sairaj Dhond. He runs a startup called Wakao, which is using a Goan favorite, fanas or jackfruit. And he's a lawyer. He's not even a food trained person, but he just had a passion to build a startup, and he saw there was always spare and excess jackfruit wherever he went, including his garden. He's like, what can I do with this product of Goa that is abundant? What can I do with it? And he started to experiment with various recipes and found different people who were experienced and capable of using this ingredient in a variety of ways. So from using it in a burger patty to using it in a Chinese preparation or a Goan preparation, he's created, I I actually don't want to say the number, but many varieties and many different preparations, packaged, sold in Goa, sold across India, sold overseas, sold B2C, sold B2B. You can find this in some world famous hotels, including the Hyatt chain of hotels, which was one of his very first customers. So can Goa do this? 100%. Is Goa doing it? Yes, it is.
Awesome. Dream big, right? Yeah, please.
I would just like to add here that definitely there is a lot of potential. There are a lot of products, because we deal with them, there are a lot of products which have the capacity to be exported, and this is where you're going to come in picture, where we pick up all these products, we identify these products, we organize them, and we put it in a very export ready, rather we make them export ready, because that is where we need to handhold them and take them up to that level. So today we don't talk about a handful of Goan products, but we talk of multiple and hundreds of Goan products, which you can see on stands and supermarkets outside Goa and outside India as well. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Parikshit sir, you train a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, right? Especially the next generation culinary artist, let me put it this way. What is their aspiration that you see? What do they come to you with? Obviously not like sir, when he was saying when he was growing up, everybody wanted to do a course to get to a ship and make more money. Is that still true, or has it changed?
I think everybody has different aspirations. It all depends on what they are being exposed to, and while they are being trained, what is the exposure that is currently going on. So we have different there are some which come with a different idea, and then at the end of the program they want to do something else. But I think what we felt was lacking was the entrepreneurship bit of it. So for a young student, when he is passing out of a skill development program, entrepreneurship is usually last on his list, because he's either looking for going for an internship, he's saying, okay, let me pick up a job, or let me go for higher education. So entrepreneurship was really low. But if we really look around us, you don't need to be great in doing many things. You need to be absolutely fantastic in doing a few things. I think an ideal model is like the tea stalls like Harman Chaiwala, like those guys. They don't do so many stuff, right? Maybe a handful of 2-3 stuff, but they do it really well. And if students are given a platform where they are actually trained, provide them a platform, hand-holding, support, investment, and you let them fly, believe me, they can reach to great heights. We've seen that across a lot of students, startups, including home chefs. Okay, we've seen that, and I think the potential is great. The only thing what we need to do is we need to be able to really build a strong bridge and handhold them from this side to the other side where there is fantastic opportunity waiting for them.
Thank you, sir. No, that's truly said. Yes, sir. I was about to ask you for the closing comment, and please do add one more thing to it.
I just add a few more things to it. I think what is required today is to move from a subsidy or a support linked, entrepreneurship to a leadership or aspirational led leadership. Because many times there are a lot of schemes, a lot of support system, a lot of skill training program, and at the end of it, people are pushed into entrepreneurship. But I think that's one major area. We need to move from push to a kind of aspirational led leadership. Second thing is, there is a kind of, I won't say herd mentality, but like you look at 2-3 products like making laddus, making chaklis, making pickles. You have hundreds and almost thousands of entrepreneurs preparing the same kind of products. But in the days to come, food is going to be a huge thing. Like maybe they say like when we have 10 billion people by 2050, and we are reaching towards that 2050 is not very far away. How do we service or how do we produce enough food for that? There was a discussion about the quality of food. The soil is so bad that an apple, they said, like used to produce of a certain quality. And today the quality, you need to have 3 to 4 apples to have the same nutrient into your body. So, wellness related to understanding, then the nutrition, the health-based product, biotechnology, how technology can be brought into nutraceuticals. So there are so many areas, vast areas in the food science and the food sector, which needs to be tapped and looked into as we move forward. Now, how do we bring that into the main ecosystem is the question. Now, you have two kinds of entrepreneurs, the general entrepreneur and the techno entrepreneur. So what kind of products or what kind of entrepreneurship we teach to the general entrepreneurs? What kind of products or inputs you give to the techno entrepreneurs? Techno entrepreneurs, basically, I mean startups or who use technology as a backdrop to build businesses. So I think it needs a much larger intervention here, much more critical intervention, understanding what needs to be imparted, and a clinical impact, clinical execution, and most importantly, a very clinical impact assessment to see where we are failing, so that when we come out with more programs and more inputs, we are able to build more successful programs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time and everybody's time over here. Let me end this session with one line that I remember it and reading it somewhere. It says beautifully, if we can simplify business for one woman with a recipe, we can unlock a generation of Goan entrepreneurs. And it's really true. We're seeing the recipes, we're tasting the recipes every day, and we say, wow, but we can't take that recipe and replicate back at home. No way. So that's the true power of entrepreneurship. But what Project Sashakti will do is also, I want to call it out, that we are looking at women leading food entrepreneurs from kitchen to global shelves. We're looking at growers and SAGs becoming founders. We're looking at technology making local cuisines available across the country. We're looking at circular practices becoming standard and not an exception. With that, let me open and call Madhura to take forward the next steps and talk about Project Sashakti, and we'll talk more about as we go forward during the day. But thank you so much for the lovely panel, and big round of applause for them, for your time and everything. In days to come, I would be working along with you. We have अब 1 साल तक तो नहीं छोड़ूंगा सर आपको मैं कम से कम उसके बाद का बात में देखेंगे. But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that, sir.